Hello everybody, this is William Brevard and this is Bushido Gamer. Game with passion and game with honor. Alright, so today we have a Japan anime game. This game is called Barbarossa. So Barbarossa is a deck building game. Now, I'm telling you right now, this is an 18 and over game. The reason why is because of the themes that the game has as far as the graphics are a little bit suggestive. So it's not nude or anything, but they're very suggestive. So this is going to be an age restricted video, of course. But this game right here is good for about 2 to 5 players. Takes maybe about an hour or more to play. It is by Kamikaze Games. And here goes the setup. So in this game, the idea behind this game is that you play and this is exactly how it says inside the storyline of the game. It is a fictitious Nazi army that is attacking a fictitious Russia, and the main goal of the game is to take over as many of the city-states or whatever of Russia as possible until you get to the last state, which would be Moscow. Once the player takes over Moscow, then the game is over. Now, as deck builders go, for those who are not sure of deck builders, and we did some deck builders before, so this is still a deck builder game. You have your area where you're going to be picking up all of your army. You're going to be recruiting your army, and you have your hand, you have your supply. Okay, so every one of the cards that you pick up has a cost, and they also have we'll go into it, but they have a cost, and you need to have that much as far as your supply goes in order to be able to purchase that card and add it to your deck. So once you're at the end of your turn, you can keep one card, you discard the rest of your hand, and then you draw a new hand. And as you start building more and more, or adding more and more cards to your discard, that becomes your deck. So then your deck becomes bigger and bigger. The main goal of the game is that you want to be able to take over, or have enough points to take over one of the location cards here in order to add it to yours and get the victory points. At the end of the game, when Moscow is taken over, game ends and everybody tallies up all the victory points, which are these little numbered flags that you see on some of the cards, and the person who has the highest victory point wins. Okay, so it's been a little while since I played this game. I haven't had many people to play with, but I know we played this game religiously for quite some time. So it is a pretty fun game to play. We're going to go ahead and go through a quick little demo of the game. I'm going to simulate 2 people playing. So to start the game off, there's actually no. Before we start the game off, let's go into the field here. So starting from my left to the right, the way I have it set up. These first 3 cards over here on the side, these are strategy cards. Now I'm going to bring you the picture here so you can get an idea of why this game is going to, or why I'm going to be age restricting this one. So these strategy cards, they all have a cost. So the cost of the card is right here. In this case, it's 4. This number over here is the tactic points. Each turn you have 1 tactic point, but you can gain more tactic points with different cards. So if it has a 1 right there, then you use your tactic point to play the card from your hand. If it has a 2, you'd have to get 2 tactic points. I mean, you already have 1, but then you have to get 1 more in order to be able to get that. Okay. So these are strategy cards. Next one is, and we do it. I usually set it up by the order of cost, with the exception of the strategy card. I put these separate, but everything else is all army cards. So we have 1s, 2s, 3s, 4. 5s, 6, and then the last one is at 8, which are their tanks. Let me actually, I gotta switch these two. There you go. Okay, now the cards up here, these are your support cards, like this one right here. As you'll notice, it doesn't have a tactic, a tactic count, so you can play as many of these as you want during your turn. It does have a cost, so if you want to pick up one, you have to pay that cost and then bring one. And this particular one is the lowest one. It gives you it gives you +1 supply. So this is how you get your money. This is your currency right here, and you have either a +1, +2, or a +3 supply. Okay. You have support cards. Now, support cards, these ones are actually several different types of cards. Okay, they're not all the same cards. So each one of these gives you different, we call them additive bonuses. Like for example, this particular one is railway construction. It costs six to buy it, one tactic to play it. But when you deploy this card, it stays face up on your field. And at the beginning of your starting phase, you can actually add one more supply to your supply points. You can add a +3 supply as well, but if you do, you have to scrap this card. When you scrap this card, that means that it's gone. You remove it from play for the most part. Okay, so it's like a one-time deal if you do that. Otherwise, it stays inside your hand. If it says recycle it, then you actually send it back over into the field right here instead of keeping it inside of your deck. The other two cards you have over here are site cards. You have the Fortified Hill, which is this one right here. Same thing. Doesn't have a tactic cost to it because once you purchase the card, it actually doesn't, or actually not when you purchase it. With this being red, you actually have to defeat this site. So if you do 3 damage to a site, you can pick up a site and you add it to your field. Now, whenever you want, especially when you are attacking either another site, a higher site, or you're attacking one of the locations, you can sacrifice this site, and this particular one will reduce the attack points of that site by 1. The other one reduces it by 2. So you can stack those up. Like if you just keep there and keep buying more, getting more and more fortified hills or strategic positions, that can heavily reduce what amount the location you're trying to attack will have as far as the attack points go. That's that little part that's on the top right corner in red. Now this face down deck right here, this is your events. Now when you attack, or when you're going to commit to an attack for a location, for one of the cities, you have to flip over one of the event cards. So you flip over to one of the event cards, and in some cases they might have a +0. Some cases they may have another one. So like for example, this one has a +6. So the difference here, this +6 is going to add 6 to the location you hit. So if this was 12, you add 6, now you got an 18 that you have to beat instead of just 12. Plus sometimes they might actually have additional things here too. So when you are committing to an attack, you have to make sure that you have enough attack points to be able to defeat that location that you're trying to take. Alright, so the setup of the game. First off, what you're going to do is you're going to start off with the horse-drawn supports. These are the ones that give you +1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get 6 of those. And then you also get, where they at? 2 of the Grenadier Regiment, which are 1 cost guys. So you start off with a deck of 8. Okay, you shuffle your deck up, and then you draw 4 cards. So you start your hand off with 4 cards. Now, during each one of your turns, there is actually a turn reference card which helps out a little bit, because this turn reference card will tell you what you would do per turn, and it also gives you a reminder of what each one of the different symbols means as well too. Okay, keep that right there. Here. So the turn phases, there are 4 phases. It goes starting phase, tactic phase, reinforcement phase, and then cleanup phase. So during the starting phase, you can reactivate any cards that were exhausted. When it says exhausted, it's basically kind of like tapping in Magic. You turn it this way, it means it's exhausted. You go this way, it's not exhausted. It means it's recovered. Okay. The tactic phase. This is where you gain a tactic point, and you can play cards in your hand, or choose, or play cards in your hand as you choose, and or none at all if you have a lack of tactic cards. So you can play a card in your hand that requires a tactic point. You can also play cards that will give you additional tactic points if you have it. And then your reinforcement phase. So your reinforcement phase, this is represented by the little blue mark, or it's actually a little green mark. With this one right here, you can recruit another card into your deck. Basically what it is, that's when you're purchasing your cards. So during your attack phase, or during your tactic phase, this is also where you declare a combat. Your reinforcement is just after the combat. So you want to do your recoup, basically recover, buy and attack. Actually, not buy and attack, but play and attack. And then you buy your cards, and then after that you do the cleanup. You can choose one card in your hand to keep. Everything else gets discarded, and then you draw 4 more cards from your you draw 4 more cards from your deck, and then your turn ends. Anything you haven't used is wasted. It gets discarded. You don't get to keep it. You don't get to carry over a supply point that you didn't use over to the next turn. All right, so we're gonna go with this one. So my first one here, I got 4 horse-drawn carriages. That gives me 4. And so what I'm gonna do is I don't have anything else I'm gonna play for my hand, so I'm gonna skip my tactics phase because I don't have anything to play for my hand that requires a tactic. So I'm gonna go straight to my reinforcement phase. My reinforcement phase, I'm gonna do 4, and on this right here, I'm actually gonna pick up something that's gonna give me attack points. So that's an artillery battalion. It gives me 1 tactic plus 4 attack. Now that gets discarded, and then I draw 4 more cards. Okay, then it goes to the next turn. So now I have 2 Grenadier regiments and I have 2 horse-drawn carriages. So my Grenadier regiment during my tactic phase, I'm going to go ahead and play this one. Now, when I play this one, I have a choice. If I play it, it gives me a play bonus, and if I deploy it, then I exhaust it, which means I go like this. So I have a play bonus. I can play it out first, put it face up like this, just straight, right? And then this gives me a +1 recruitment, which means that I can actually buy 2 cards if I wanted to do my recruitment phase instead of buying 1. So I'm going to get that +1 recruitment, so that's stocked up inside my points that I have for the turn. And then I'm going to go ahead and exhaust it so I can use it later and it stays in play. If I don't exhaust it, then at the end of my turn, during the cleanup, it's going to go to my discard with everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and exhaust it, keep that in play, and then that ends my tactic phase. I'm not going to do any attacks. On my recruitment phase, I'm going to go ahead and spend my 2 horse-drawns to actually pick up 1 more horse-drawn carriage and a battalion card, which will allow me to get either an extra draw or an extra tactic. So I'll put that there. I still have 1 card in my hand. I'm going to keep it and then go ahead and shuffle my discard because I have no deck to draw from. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Now draw my 4 cards. So now I have 5 cards in hand. Okay, so that's my second turn. So this next turn here, this is now the starting phase. So I have this 1 card here that's already exhausted. So I'm going to flip it back up to recover it. So now I can use it this turn. And then now I have, let's see. So I got 3 horse-drawns. I have another Grenadier regiment. I'm going to go ahead and use my Grenadier regiment again. Get the play bonus here for an additional reinforcement. And then I'm going to exhaust her. And I'm not going to do any other tactics on that. So now I'm going to go to my reinforcement. I'm going to buy with 2. I'm going to pick up this card here called Airdrop. Airdrop is cool because it gives you +3 supply and +1 reinforcement. Now, one thing about these strategy cards that you have over here is that they do not go back to your discard pile after you play them. When you first get them, yeah, they go to your discard pile because you can't use it right away. But during your cleanup phase, you return it back to the war zone right here instead of going to your discard pile. And then my last one, I'm going to pick up another horse-drawn to try to increase my stock. I'm going to keep this 1 card I have in my hand. These get discarded. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop my 4 cards. And then we go to the next turn. Okay? So now we're going to go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast track this and pick up a couple of tanks and stuff just to have it so I can show what happens when you do an attack. So it's going to stack my deck real quick a few times. Alright. So let's say I have these out here. And I'm going to do a quick shuffle on this one. Let's see, what are we going to have here? 4. Okay, so now I'll stack my hand a little bit here. Okay, now So we got, this is later in the game, we got some more cards. We picked up a couple of things, got some other things. So let's go ahead and try taking out one of the sites first. So what we're going to do is, let's see. I'm going to, so do my supply, actually my tactic phase. I'm going to play this tactic card here. It gives me +1 tactic, which means now I can play another tactic card. It also gives me +4 my attack that I can have for attack points. So the second tactic, I'm not going to have anything to play with it right now yet. But this +4, I'm going to use this 4 to take out a fortified heal, because the fortified heal, the defense, you can call it, is 3. I do 4 damage to it, so I keep it. This goes here, this gets discarded. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce some stuff and buy 2 more things, or 1 more thing. Actually, let's get this one instead. And then we end that turn, we're going to draw 4 more. I'm going to keep this 1 card in my hand though. Now on my next one, let's see, I'm going to play during my tactic phase my Armored Scout Battalion. She gives me +2 attack, but also gives me +2 tactics, which is cool, because now that I got those 2 tactics in, I can go ahead and deploy one of my tanks, one of my big guys. So this particular one, I deploy it, it gets exhausted right away. Okay, and now that, and it also gives me +2 on my attack, but I can't do it. I don't have anything to do with it really. But I'm going to show how the fortified heal works. That won't make any sense. I won't do it. Never mind. So I'm going to keep that out here, and I'm going to go ahead and purchase another thing. So I'm going to purchase one of these guys. Actually, no, it's good. It's one of these ones, the command troops, and put that. Keep this in my hand. Draw 4 more. So I already took out one of the heals, and now I actually have some firepower here, because this particular one, if I pay 1 supply and I exhaust it, it gives me +6 on my attack. Okay. That's 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's get some more. 8, 19, 11, 12. Alright, so this is perfect. Okay. So now this is my tactic phase. Now we're going to do an attack on one of the cities right here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and declare my attack on the city. I'm going to go against Kharkov. So when I do this, first I flip over. Dang, it's going to suck. First I flip over an event card. Now Kharkov right here has a 12. Okay, it has a 12 for its attack over here in the corner. My event card I flipped over, event card I flip over has a +3. So now it means that it is a total of 15 that I have to defeat. So I'm not gonna be. I might be able to defeat it. So I'm gonna do this right here, and this gives me plus. Let me just put my here. So this first card here is going to give me +6. I'm going to pay 1 supply to activate it, so that's 6 right there. And then this is still my tactic phase, so I haven't used my tactic point yet. So I'm going to use this tactic card here, which gives me 1 more tactic plus a +4. So now I have 10 going into it. My Grenadier Regiment have a little thing on the bottom says if I exhaust this card, then I can get a +1. So that's already 10. I'm going to exhaust both of these. That's going to give me +1 each. That gives me 12. Then, 12. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually return, use the second effect to return this card to the war zone for each one. That gives me a +1 each also. So I'm going to return these back to the war zone to get another +1. So that gives me 14. So this is 15. I have 14. I'm going to use my fortified heal. My fortified heal, if I return this back to the war zone, then the site that I'm going to combat with will get -1. So that 15 brings it down to 14. So now I have enough to defeat it. This 14, I defeated it. It's now mine. This card right here, the event card, this particular card will actually go into let's see. Oh, so this event card, when I defeat the city, I can deploy this event card to any player's front line to kind of hurt the other player. So in this case, when it goes on the front line, that player cannot gain any attack from tanks, assault guns. they have to play 2 tactics to get rid of this card at any time. So I would play this against another player. I don't have another player. I'm just going to strap it right here for now. So I did all that. These all are used up. I now have a new site. Now, as part of this site, there is a drawback. Like there is a negative to taking a site. Looking at these 2 sites, one has the text in black writing, one has it encased in red. The difference on these 2 is that the red one's going to be a little bit more difficult, but also their negative is a lot worse. So in this particular one, after combat, forfeit 1 deployed tank, which means this guy gets forfeited, which means he gets sent over to my discard. If I cannot forfeit if I cannot forfeit the tank, then I have to forfeit any 2 deployed army units. If I conquer the city, then I deploy this card. Now with these other ones, after combat, you forfeit all of your deployed tanks. And if you cannot forfeit any tanks, then forfeit all of your deployed army. So when you take the red ones, you gotta be ready, because like, you know what, if you take it, you're gonna have to forfeit all of your big guys, all of your big guns. They basically got used up in battle, and now they're just not usable anymore. Okay, so you have to keep that kind of thing in mind. So I had to forfeit my tank for this one. Now I go into my reinforcement. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up another airdrop. I'm gonna keep this other tank in my hand. That gets discarded, and then I draw my next 4 cards. Okay, so that pretty much sums up how the game goes, and it continues going over and over again. You play what's in your hand, you buy some cards, you do some attacks, and then you go back. You play what's in your hand, do some attacks, buy some cards, and you keep repeating until you have enough army built up on your field to be able to take out this tank. Okay, so that is the game. The game is pretty fun. I've played it quite a few times with some friends, and we had a blast playing it all the time. Some people get a little bit more competitive than others, and you know, sometimes kind of ruin the game for us because they get way too competitive, but it's okay. It's still a fun game to play. So let's go into some of the let's go into the ratings for the game. So gameplay, replayability, the fun factor, the theme, and the rules. Okay, so gameplay. For the gameplay, is it easy to play? It's not easy to play. The game is pretty simple to play. Once you go around like 1 or 2 rounds, you pretty much get the idea of it. So it's not too difficult. The one thing on the gameplay that you got to remember is that you need to know. There's a lot of cards in here that you look at, so you have to kind of know which cards you really want to go for, and which cards are going to help you do what you want to accomplish. Like for example, if you really want to go for the big guns, then you got to get your supplies up so you can get these guys out there and get some extra tactics. But a lot of people, I know a lot of my friends, these support cards can help so much. It's ridiculous. They can help a lot. I didn't really play much of the support card here, but these support cards can help tremendously when it comes to taking out these big guns and getting other stuff out there too. So it all depends on a person's tactic. But for the gameplay, I would give it a solid 5 for the gameplay. Actually, no, let's do 4.5 for the gameplay. I won't give it a 5. I won't give it a 5 only because it has a little bit of a learning curve to it, and you really have to focus on knowing what exactly all the cards are, and it can be kind of overwhelming. So we could do 4.5. For the fun factor, however, that's a 5. I enjoy playing this game. My friends enjoy playing this game. My students enjoy playing this game. Yeah, I said my students. I took this to my college class, and we played it for like 2 weeks straight because we had finished all of the work early, so it was good. But yeah, they enjoyed to play the game. They actually kept asking me, "Hey, Mr. B, you got to bring this game back. We got to play it again." So we played this game a lot. So the fun factor, definitely 5 on that. For the theme, okay, so the theme is. We give it a 5 on the theme. The pictures on here are pretty cool. Like I said, it is kind of a, I guess you can say risky. I guess it's not. They're not nude or anything, but they're very suggestive. But it does look pretty cool though. So it's a cool thing. So I would say give it a 5 on that. Remember, this is an 18 and over game, so it's not a game you're going to bring out and have your 12 years old playing and stuff, unless you're okay with exposing them to the lingerie type dresses and stuff that they have on here. As far as the replay value, the replay value is pretty high. I would say I would give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 for the replay value. It can get tedious at the time, especially if everybody uses the same tactics over and over again. It does still have a pretty high replay because of the fact that you can swap out your tactics and doing each game you play to try to play a little bit different, pick up different cards. Because we noticed that when we played over and over again, there were certain cards in here that nobody ever touched. But then you look at those cards like, you know what? I don't know why we don't get these cards. These cards are actually pretty good if you use them right. And then the rules. So the rules are pretty hefty. There's a lot of rules to it. There were a few things I had to read over a few times just to kind of get a better grasp of it. So the rules, I'm gonna give it a 4. It is a lot of text in the rules, and some parts were a little confusing, some parts not. Like, for example, we was getting confused a lot of times on the turn order. Even though we had the turn reference card, there were certain things like, okay, well, can you do this to the turn order, can you not? And we had to read through the rules a lot of times, and then eventually on something we just said, you know, screw it, we'll just make house rule for it, because we couldn't figure it out inside the rule because it didn't actually cover it. But anyway, the rules are not horrible. They're not completely easy, but they're not horrible, so that's why we give it a good 4. Anyway, again, this is from Kamikaze Games, also for ArcLight Games as well. It's a fun game to play. You'll probably find it in some specialty sites. You might find it more at a dealer hall and convention than you would like in a hobby store, because it is kind of a, you know, it doesn't say much on the box as far as what kind of graphic and stuff you're looking at. But if you look on the back of the box, it does show some of the poses, and they're a little suggestive. So you want to be careful with that, with exposing your kids to the game, you know, unless you're okay with it. That's you know, each parent's responsibility. So anyway, again, this Barbarossa. There is several other games like this one out there, the JapAnime games that are deck builders. One that I would like to get is called was it Dynamic Nurse, which was pretty fun. Kakakura is another one that was really good too, that I would like to try out too. I actually like the Japanese anime games like this too, so they're pretty fun. So I'm gonna be getting more of those hopefully soon. As far as events, okay, so this game video was for this game. I'm actually going to be posting another video, special request, for No Limit Games' Battle of Souls game. Kind of a how to play video. I'm not going to do a rating on it because it's my own, so it would be too biased. Because I'll give it all 5s, but you know, I know it doesn't deserve it. So I'm not going to do a rating on my game, but I am going to do a how to play video for Battle of Souls coming up along when I do this video too, or after I post this video. That video you posted the same day. To all my honorable gamers, gamer passion, gamer honor, get this game, have some fun with it. If you got other games that you want to, if you have a game that you want me to review, send me the game, or send me the name of the game, and I'll see if I can pick up that game. I'll try it out a couple times, and then I can do a review on it for you as well. Or if you want me to do a how to play on any of the games that I've already done review, let me know, and I will go ahead and do a how to play video for that game. So hit me up. Until then, you guys have fun and enjoy everything, okay? Peace out.